Part 9. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 81. Sukingsyu had a smile on her lips, very confident. Suchanga was a little surprised. Shocked, Sukingsyu wanted to hunt by herself. This was a rare thing in ancient times. However, it could also be that Sukingsyu had just started practicing and her hands were itchy. After all, this little girl has just obtained the holy art of 10,000 transformations, and she probably wants to test its power. Well. Poor immortal lizard. Brother Suk. Run. These sand tribesmen and I can't kill them. Yan Xian screamed in despair. Looking at the handsome man in white walking in the jungle, she became nervous. This is a big war. Why are you so relaxed and don't feel nervous at all? And she heard what did Sukingsyu say? Sukingsyu wanted to eat the immortal lizard. It was simply outrageous. Let alone eating it, even if she could escape from the hands of the immortal lizard, it would be good. Yan Xian remembered clearly, just last month when she went to Suchanga's place some time ago, Sukingsyu had just opened the door to practice and used the medicine cauldron to build the foundation. After only a month, she could kill the immortal lizard? Yan Xian didn't believe it. But Sukingsyu's next operation made her dumbfounded. She saw a vast golden light flashing, and the holy light in Sukingsyu's hand condensed into a beam of light, which hit the immortal lizard's head directly. A huge blood hole instantly penetrated. Beam castration without any reduction, it penetrated the immortal lizard directly. At the same time, many Sand Clan soldiers beside the immortal lizard were shocked. Is this the cub of the human race? With just one move, the immortal lizard was directly killed. It was terrifying. I want to eat cumin flavor. Sukingsyu smiled sweetly. The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. No matter how he looked at it, he felt that this immortal lizard was inedible. But since Sukingsyu wants to try eating it, then just eat it. It does not matter. Anyway, even if Sukingsyu is poisoned to death, he can still save Sukingsyu. Run away. The human race has great power to take action. The leader of the Sand Clan's legion screamed strangely and fled frantically. But Suchanga waved his hand, and then all the Sand Clan members slowly turned into real yellow sand. Their vitality quickly drained away, and they fell to the ground helplessly, becoming a pile of sand. Sand. Only the leader of the legion is still alive. What do you practice, Qinghai Emperor Sutra? Suchanga looked at the panicked leader of the Sand Clan and asked curiously. He wanted to know why the Qinghai Emperor's scripture was related to the Sand Clan. It was obvious that one was about water and the other was about the desert ethnic group. Could it be that, does the Qinghai Emperor Sutra actually have another effect? What Qinghai Emperor Sutra? I have no idea. The leader of the Sand Clan is very tough. He plans to be tough twice. As long as Suchanga asks him for the third time, he will tell him everything directly. Just enough to pretend to be unparalleled in loyalty. Well, I can only search your soul. The leader of the Sand Clan was dumbfounded. Alone and messy in the wind. Then I felt that my soul was being invaded, then he tilted his head and foamed at the mouth. Hey, why does this guy look like Sister Black Dragon? Is he also purifying impurities? Xiao Ling'er suddenly jumped on top of Suchanga's head and said excitedly. Everything outside is very attractive to Xiao Ling'er. Emperor Qinghai is indeed hidden in the Sand Clan, and the Emperor Qinghai Sutra is not a water-based technique. Interesting. Suchanga's eyes were full of interest. The two dogs of Emperor Qinghai once flooded Jinbo Mountain, and now Jinbo Mountain is a piece of Wanyang. It is estimated that everyone in the world will think that Emperor Qinghai is a guy who lives with the ocean. But quite the opposite. The most terrifying power of the Qinghai Emperor Sutra is to absorb water. All moisture. Whether it is the legendary holy water, or even the fountain of life, or the water that mortals drink, or the water in the bodies of monks. Humans have 5 elements. If the water element is gone, humans will naturally be useless. This is also why Emperor Qinghai is so powerful. However, she was still beaten violently by Nangongwen and ran to the lower realm in despair. Brother Su. Thank you, Brother Su. Otherwise, this line of defense can only be given up. The next few towns will be reduced to the food of the Sand Clan. Yan Xian bowed slightly. Her eyes were filled with admiration. This is the second time Brother Su has saved her. Fine. Suchanga waved his hand indifferently. Brother Su, take care. Yan Zinda quickly returns to the sect to report the situation here. After Yan Xian finished speaking, she quickly left here with a few people and rushed towards the inside of the section. The immortal lizards of the Sand Clan are really scary. The sect must send more manpower. Otherwise, the defense line will be touched. Instant collapse. Come on, don't you want to eat this big lizard? Xiao Qingxiu, what are you doing standing still? Suchanga rubbed Su Qingxiu's head. Then Su Qingxiu came back to her senses from her dazed state. The 10,000 transformations holy Jew is really too powerful. The 10,000 transformations holy light just now was just one of the 10,000 transformations holy Jew. It's just one type? There are many more. It is indeed the supreme skill of chaos body cultivation. Eat meat, eat meat. Su Qingxiu and Su Ling'er laughed at the same time. Soon, the huge immortal lizard was dissected by Suchanga. Unexpectedly, although this thing looked extremely ugly, the meat inside was actually very good. It's delicious. No wonder Su Qingxiu wants to eat it. It's really good meat. After a while, this huge immortal lizard got on the grill. Wait, this one will be too monotonous to eat. Suchanga's spiritual energy was stimulated, and he grabbed a big bird from the sky. Then he also set up a barbecue grill. Good times, good times. Tasty. Linger is saying that Lingju is delicious. Suchanga glanced at Su Qingxiu and Xiao Linger tenderly, then took out his inspiration and opened the forum. Just when he saw the forum of the South Territory, he found a blood-red message pinned to the top of the forum. Musiki, the supreme elder of Hunyuan Tower in the south, died. Died at the hands of the Sand Clan Legion. Followed by various pictures attached. This is the first powerful monk to fall on the battlefield. The supreme elder of Hunyuan Tower, who must be a strong man in the realm of immortality, how could he fall all of a sudden? Could it be that Emperor Qinghai took action secretly? Suchanga was a little confused. But there is no doubt that the fall of Musiki has pushed the entire Southern Territory's resistance to the Sand Clan to a high point. The entire Southern Territory's human race is just like the resistance against the Monster Clan back then. Generally speaking, everyone has united together. The top forces have also temporarily put down their barriers and formed a coalition to fight against the strong men of the Sand Clan on the southern border. Eat meat, Xiao Qingxiu, eat more. Suchanga was grilling meat while brushing up his intelligence. But he couldn't find any news about Emperor Qinghai. If a great emperor wants to hide, even he is not easy to find, but if he finds it, he will definitely give him a beating. Wang Ergu, Suchanga murmured. But then a special humming sound was heard. A huge wild boar with a fat girl stood in front of them, with fear in its eyes. The 9 Nether Pig King. There is such a delicious thing here. Su Qingxiu's eyes were twinkling with stars. It's great. It's not in vain. I had a big lizard to eat, and I also met the legendary Juya Pig King, the most delicious one. This is, the arch-rival Swanyan bird? Why are you on the barbecue grill? Juya Pig King felt his calves spinning a little. The big bird who was as big as him was already on the barbecue grill. Horrible. Run. The 9 Nether Pig King screamed strangely, then turned around and ran away. Don't run. Little pig. Su Kingxiu let out a sweet cry, and the 10,000 transformations holy light appeared in her hand. It was directly stimulated and knocked the Juyo pig emperor into a big somersault. Let me go, seniors, let me go. The 9 nether pig emperor looked at Su Kingxiu in fear and kept begging for mercy. He felt that the human races had walked out of the jungle, so he came out to take a look. Then he saw a little girl. What bad thoughts could a little girl have? So the 9 nether pig emperor is out. Unexpectedly, on the barbecue grill in front of the little girl was his nemesis Swanyan bird. Yes, what bad thoughts can a little girl have? She just wants to eat him. It just so happens that this lizard and big bird are not enough for me to eat, so why don't you come and fill my belly together? Su Kingxiu smiled. At this time, the 9 nether pig emperor saw the corpse of the immortal lizard beside him. The immortal lizard. A terrifying monster. It was eaten into bones like this. Hiss. Is this little girl? The reincarnation of the Daudi was so edible. Then a light flashed, and the Juyo pig emperor died without any time to think about it. Su Kingxiu skillfully peeled off the skin and bones, then cut off all the good Juyo pig emperor meat and gave it to Suchanga. Although she can already kill monsters and hunt, the technical work of barbecuing still has to be left to Suchanga. Not bad, Xiao Kingxiu, only in the realm of supernatural powers, has such strength. Hearing Suchanga's words of praise, Su Kingxiu smiled. She was very happy. Then she raised her head proudly. It's just the 9 nether pig king. Although Su Kingxiu was happy in her heart, she was very arrogant. Indeed, when my father was your age, Juyo pig emperor even stopped eating. Suchanga curled his lips and struck mercilessly. Although it was a bit of a lie, he did eat a lot at that time. Otherwise, the Juyo pig emperor wouldn't be so rare. They were almost eaten to extinction by him. Anyway, it's quite tragic. Eat quickly. After eating, we will go to the front line. Suchanga smiled and rubbed Su Kingxiu's head, and then started to barbecue. The aroma was fragrant. But no monsters dared to approach them anymore. Nonsense. The 2 bosses of this forest have already got on the barbecue grill. Yes, were they going to die in the past? It smells so good. Su Kingxiu swallowed her saliva. She didn't care whether she went to the front line or not. As long as she had meat to eat. Sulinger didn't care. She would go wherever Suchanga went. She was like an extremely clingy person. Little baby. Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 82. Soon, Su Kingxiu finished all the meat. Her realm has also reached the peak of the magical realm. If she continues like this, she will be able to enter the shattering void realm in just a few days. This speed is outrageous. All the energy consumed now is preparing for the complete opening of the chaos body. Su Kingxiu knew very well the reason for her hunger. Chaos body. As long as she breaks through to the realm of immortality and fully opens her chaos body, her appetite will be completely under control. Let's go, keep going. There are no monsters left in this forest. Suchanga smiled, hugged Su Kingxiu and continued walking forward. At the same time, he checked Su Kingxiu's body to prevent eating too much and leaving impurities in the body. But there was nothing at all. Is it really worthy of being a chaotic body? After eating an immortal lizard, all of his body was filled with pure energy. Rush. Linger and Daddy rushed together. Linger sat on Suchanga's shoulder and took a sip of spirit wine. Suchanga was surrounded by the smell of alcohol. Southern boundary line. This is the most intense battle in the entire battlefield. The 4 kings of the Sand clan and the strong men of the Human clan collided. In the entire southern human race, there are now only 2 powerful people in the realm of immortality. Chunyang Taoist Zhu Chunyang, the ancestor of Feng Lei, Fenliza. But the Sand Clan has 4 powerful men in the realm of immortality, and coupled with the weird skills, it is simply not something that the 2 of them can resist. The war is about to break out. Boom. Waves of rays of light shone in all directions, and the earth collapsed. All places hit by the immortal warriors of the Sand tribe turned into dry and cracked land, and then turned into flying sand. All water flow is sucked dry. Slaughtering the southern territory was enough to help our ancestors heal their wounds. The number 1 king of the Sand Clan smiled strangely. With the combined efforts of the 4 of them, the 2 immortal warriors of the human race simply couldn't hold on for long. After slaughtering all the races in the southern territory, the emperor should be able to recover from his injuries, and I will also be appreciated by the emperor. Arrogant! Zhu Chunyang roared angrily. The sword light in his hand flashed. Chunyang's swordsmanship was earth-shattering and terrifying. At the same time, he already had an invincible heart. For a moment, he and Fenglai ancestor jointly resisted the attack of the 4 Sand Clan kings. Fellow Taoist Chunyang, this is not the way to go. Sooner or later we will be consumed by them. It's better to leave here first and save your strength. Fenliza gritted his teeth. So what? Senior Su personally painted and taught me, I will never do anything like living in an ignoble way. Zhu Chunyang's eyes sparkled with the flame of faith. He has always remembered Senior Su's advice in his heart. Whether it was the advice back then or the paintings at the birthday banquet, he benefited a lot every time, and each memory seemed like a movie. Passed through his heart. Fenliza. I, Zhu Chunyang, order you to lead tens of millions of people to retreat to the south and wait for rescue from Zhongzhou. How about you? Fellow Taoist Chunyang. Please help Zhu take good care of his little girl King Zhu. Zhu, never come back. Pure Yang sword. Zhu Chunyang shouted loudly. The Chunyang sword with flaming red flames fell into his hand, and then the essence and blood all over his body began to burn. His strength directly increased to a level. Burning longevity. The shocking sword intent surged, and Zhu Chunyang turned into the pillar of light fought directly with the 4 kings of the Sand Clan. Behind him was the entire southern territory, and hundreds of millions of fellow southern territory humans. Even if he died, he had to fight for a glimmer of life for the human race. Fellow Taoist Chunyang. Fenliza had tears in his eyes and wished he could rush forward to help Zhu Chunyang right now. But he knew that if he went up to help, Zhu Chunyang's dedication would be in vain. Withdraw! Fenliza cried and let out a roar. The entire human race in the southern border was stunned. Withdraw! I'll retreat to the center of the southern border and wait for the reinforcements from Zhongzhou to come and outflank us. Please remember. Taoist Chunyang, Zhu Chunyang is our hero. Everyone was stunned. Tears fell silently on everyone's cheeks. Withdraw! This short word was the opportunity that Zhu Chunyang fought for them with his life. It is also the only chance for the southern human race to make a comeback. Withdraw! Fenliza tried his best to calm down, and while blocking the Sand Clan coalition forces from assisting the human race to retreat, he observed Zhu Chunyang's situation. But at this moment, a man in white appeared in the air. Peerless elegance. Fellow Daoist Fenliza, please help Su look after his 2 daughters. Suchanga smiled slightly and put Su Kingxiu and Xiaolinger down. Then with Fenliza's dull eyes, he lightly struck the sword, and the sky and the earth changed color. The sky seemed to collapse, and the entire sky directly covered the 4 sides of the Sand Clan. On top of the king's body. Boom! 3 of the 4 kings of the Sand Clan died violently and instantly turned into nothingness. At the same time, the hundreds of millions of Sand Clan troops gradually turned into wind sand, blowing in the breeze. Xiao Zuzi, you have done well. I did not train you in vain. Suchanga praised, and then a spiritual force entered Zhu Chunyang's body, directly making up for his burning longevity essence and blood, and at the same time laying a solid foundation for him. After this time, Zhu Qianyang's mood is perfect. It is estimated that it won't be long before you can ascend to the upper realms. Senior Su. Zhu Qianyang was stunned. The serious injuries caused by his burning longevity energy had recovered as before, and at the same time, there was no trace of any injuries left. The foundation has become stronger. Senior Su. It was Senior Su who saved the southern tribe. Saint Sun Yaoguang recognized Suchanga, grabbed the third prince next to him excitedly, and shouted. The third prince was a little dizzy from being shaken, but his face was still happy. Senior Su took action. Hundreds of millions of Sand Tribe coalition forces all were killed with one sword. What a sword that is! A sword is like heaven falling. If Chu can understand the basics of this sword, then there will be no regrets in this life. The Emperor of Chu was riding on a gale horse, wearing armor, and murmured. He actually went to the battlefield in person. He witnessed Suchanga's peerless sword. There are endless Sand tribes, and now only the number one of the Sand tribe is left. King. You, who are you? The first king of the Sand clan said tremblingly. At the same time, he moved the jade slip in his hand and directly passed the news to Emperor Qinghai. Ask you something? Suchanga smiled slightly. He left the number one king of the Sand clan behind just to ask where Emperor Qinghai was hiding. After all, it was the Sand clan that was Emperor Qinghai's method. And the idiot just said that the purpose of their Sand clan was he wanted to slaughter the entire human race in the southern region and heal his ancestor. If nothing unexpected happened, this ancestor should be Emperor Qinghai. Where did Wang Ergu hide? Suchanga asked with a smile. The first king of the Sand clan was silent. He doesn't know who Wang Ergu is. Worry. What question is this? There are probably too many people in the world called Wang Ergu to count. There are tens of thousands of Sha Ergu among the Sand clan. Are you kidding me? What kind of stupid name is this? The first king of the Sand clan looked embarrassed. He felt that Suchanga was playing tricks on him. I tell you. Even if I die, I won't let you play with me. Wang Ergu, if you want to play with me, at least make up a normal monk's name. The first king of the Sand clan mocked. The emperor has already answered his words, and it won't be long before the emperor himself takes action. His own safety is safe. Suchanga looked into the distance with a strange expression on his face. Emperor Qinghai himself is here. He hasn't even been interrogated yet, but he has arrived at his door. You little sand man, is it really okay to say this about your ancestor? What ancestor? Wang Ergu is my ancestor? Ha 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 ha. What are you laughing at? I laugh at you for having so much cultivation, but for being so ignorant and deceitful that you don't even know how to make up a good name, Wang Ergu, ha ha. Suchanga sighed. Mentally retarded. I even hinted at him like this, but the result was that he still had such a bad mouth. But you have a bad mouth, don't badmouth your ancestor. Immediately afterwards, a mighty imperial power swept across the entire southern territory. All the tribesmen's knees weakened and they were about to kneel on the ground, but Suchanga waved out a spiritual energy and made all the tribesmen straighten their backs and stand on the spot. Ha ha, you're done. My ancestor is here. A flash of ecstasy flashed in the eyes of the first king of the Sand clan. So what if the guy in front of him has reached the heavens? Isn't he a retard who allowed himself to gain precious survival time by relying on his words? Then the first king of the Sand clan looked at there were figures in the sky. At the same time, all the monks in the human race also raised their heads. In an instant, it seemed that everyone saw the vast and endless sea, as if overwhelming, the raging waves shocked everyone's heart. Emperor Qinghai? Ancestor? You are here. Swallowing the southern territory this time will definitely heal your wounds. What did this bastard say just now? What a retard. The first king of the Sand clan looked at the majestic figure excitedly. Then he snorted coldly. His breath slowly disappeared, and his eyes were filled with an incredible look. Before he died, he did not understand why his ancestor would take action against him. Because your ancestor is called Wang Ergu, Suchanga said helplessly. When he heard this, a flash of disbelief flashed in the eyes of the first king of the Sand clan, and then he turned into a flying sand and perished between heaven and earth. Are you from the upper world? Monkey Fang, this is the great Emperor Qinghai. Don't stop me. Emperor Qinghai has flowing black hair and is extremely handsome. No one could have imagined that such an emperor who stands at the top of the world would have his real name called Wang Ergu. Emperor Qinghai originally wanted to take action directly, but found that he could not see through it. Suchanga's cultivation. So knows that you are Emperor Qinghai. Suchanga smiled slightly. Why don't you make way for me? Emperor Qinghai's eyes condensed, and in an instant, the overwhelming majesty came towards Suchanga. He could feel that there were two extremely powerful auras in the southern border, a glass dragon and a divine phoenix, and they were both powerful. Strong, if swallowed, his injuries will definitely recover. Su wanted to ask, as a great emperor, devouring fellow human beings, wouldn't it be the same behavior as the supreme being of the Forbidden Zone? Suchanga said with a smile. Killing intent appeared in his eyes. What he hated most in his life was the Forbidden Zone Supreme. Forbidden Zone Supreme. So what? This emperor is determined to destroy the heavenly palace and do so at any cost. Why, fellow Taoist Ergu? Emperor Qinghai was angry. Take action brazenly. The raging sea and roar swept directly across the entire southern border. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 83. Well. Suchanga sighed. Then his spiritual power was activated, and the strange phenomena in the sky disappeared instantly. Countless shackles appeared from the void and were chained towards Emperor Qinghai's limbs. Who are you? Emperor Qinghai was dumbfounded. To break his vision so easily, one must be at least a top emperor, and it is even possible to be above the emperor. How could there be such a person in the lower world? The heavenly palace is not strictly forbidden for saints and above. Is the strong man going to the lower realm? Bastard! I, Suchanga, will take you back to the heavenly palace on the order of my wife. Suchanga sighed quietly. Emperor Qinghai disrupted his peaceful life. He is a very lazy person. As a result, Emperor Qinghai ran from Duanatianya to the southern front line. Cannot accept. On your wife's orders. Take me back to heaven. Emperor Qinghai was stunned. He didn't understand this relationship for a while. Lord of the heavenly palace, that woman is this man's Taoist companion? What's going on? The kind of woman who rules the entire upper world will also have a Taoist companion. Stop being funny. Break. Emperor Qinghai no longer concealed his methods, and directly activated his Qinghai Emperor Sutra with all his strength. A terrifying devouring force emerged. In an instant, the land in the southern border began to collapse. The endless land turned into a desert in an instant. Then he took action brazenly. Everyone thought he was using water to comprehend the Great Way, but little did they know that he was using water to comprehend the way of devouring. Oh, Ergu, why are you so disobedient? Just follow me back home. Suchanga sighed. Then there was a beating. Emperor Qinghai was beaten until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen. The entire imperial robe was beaten to pieces. When he violently beat Emperor Qinghai, Suchanga also freed up his hands and used his spiritual power to turn the boundless desert into a green space. That's outrageous. You. You are actually stronger than the Lord of Heavenly Palace. The eyes of Emperor Qinghai were filled with an incredible look. Then he looked aside, as if he had thought of something, and rushed towards Su Qingxiu. He practices the Qinghai Emperor Sutra and is extremely sensitive to the water element, and can easily feel the blood connection between others. Su Qingxiu, this is his chance to make a comeback. Su Chang'e fell silent. His face turned dark instantly, the sky and the earth changed color, and bursts of thunder flashed. This is his reverse scale. Cut out with one sword. Tianyuan bell. Block this emperor. An ancient bell was sacrificed directly. But then it collapsed and shattered. The figure of Emperor Qinghai was intercepted in mid-air and split into two from the waist. The emperor's Dao fruit was shattered and his Dao charm gradually dissipated. You, how could you be so strong? You are in the realm of harmony. Emperor Qinghai's eyes were full of incredulity. Then he died on the spot. Heaven and earth weep, and rain of blood falls. When the great emperor falls, even heaven and earth must grieve with him. Emperor fell. Only the death of the emperor will cause blood to rain from the sky, and the world will be sad. Zhu Zhenliang's pupils shrank sharply. Unexpectedly, that strong man turned out to be a great emperor. A great emperor. He was killed by Senior Su with one sword. What the hell is sad? Do you want to cry about any person with bad morals? Su Chang'e said angrily. Then the sky became clear and clear in an instant. Zhu Chunyang was dumbfounded. All the monks were silent, but their hearts were filled with huge waves, and their eyes were full of admiration. Rage against God. Thank you to fellow Taoist Feng Liza for helping to take care of my little girl. Su Chang'e smiled slightly. There was no heirs at all. Then he took Su Qingxiu and Ling Er and disappeared. Senior, Feng Liza dare not falsely call fellow Taoist. Feng Liza was flattered and quickly bowed to salute. When he looked up again, he found that there was no one in front of him. Su Chang'e had already left here. Thanks to Senior Su. Feng Liza's eyes were full of admiration. The entire human race in the southern region, hundreds of millions of compatriots, were saved because of Senior Su. 3 days later, the human army had disbanded, and the major forces began to recuperate. And a contract was reached. Within 3 years, no war can break out between the major forces and they can rest and recuperate. At the same time, Hunyuan Tower fell into the top power due to the death of the Supreme Elder, but no one underestimated Hunyuan Tower. The sacrificed Supreme Elder was also regarded as a hero of the Southern Territory. In the capital of the Great Chu Dynasty, a huge statue is being built, and countless skilled craftsmen are making plans below. Chu felt it was worthwhile to spend a country's efforts to build a statue for Senior Su. The Emperor of Chu felt happy. No one in the civil or military dynasty resisted. Even the imperial capital of the Chu dynasty would have many more sculptors voluntarily coming every day. Countless monks spontaneously provided spiritual stones to the royal family of the Chu dynasty to build this a huge project. If it were done in the past, this kind of waste of people and money would definitely make the monarch bear the name of a faint king through the ages, but now the Chu dynasty is so united. Because this statue belongs to Senior Su. Emperor Chu. Something went wrong. Mr. Mo ran in a panic. What? Emperor Chu was a little confused. Could it be that someone was blocking the erection of the statue? The construction of the statue has reached the final step. All the talents of the Chu dynasty have gathered together. The statue is located in the Gan position, facing. But the last step cannot be implemented at all. Mr. Mo sighed. All that was left was the face. Everyone couldn't carve Senior Su's face at all. At the same time, even if he painted Senior Su's face, he couldn't draw Senior Su's face at all. Hearing this, Emperor Chu was thoughtful. That's right. Senior Su can kill even the emperor instantly. How could they, little people like them, record their faces. Then, let's do the appearance of sentient beings. The Emperor of Chu thought for a moment. Senior Su saves the sentient beings in the southern realm and makes a living being appearance, which is reasonable and reasonable. At the same time, it can be in the form of a mask, a living being mask, to commemorate the merits of Senior Su. Mr. Mo thought for a while and nodded. Then he gave the order. The huge statue was quickly completed and stood in the capital of the Chu dynasty. There was a mask on his face, which seemed to be smiling but not smiling, but carefully looking at it, there is another feeling of compassion for all living beings. Good. The Emperor of Chu smiled slightly. The people of the Chu dynasty also looked at the magical statue and smiled. This kind of thing happens to every force in the south. The major forces commemorated Suchanga's achievements in saving the southern people in different ways. At the same time, the names of Elder Hunyuan, Feng Lizi, and Taoist Chunyang were gradually imprinted on the hearts of every monk in the southern border. Southland, start to recuperate. Duan Tianya. Su Kingxiu held a long sword in her hand and was swinging it vigorously. Suchanga was giving some pointers from time to time. One who a sword art, one who a means all-encompassing, what are you practicing? Suchanga is completely opposite to his usual gentleness. He is a bit harsh. Cultivation matters are important matters, so Suchanga will never show mercy. I know, I know. Su Kingxiu responded seriously, and then carefully thought about the meaning of the 10,000 transformation sword technique. She was an empress in her previous life and had a profound understanding of the sword. But even if she showed those insights from her previous life, she was still full of loopholes in front of Suchanga. He could casually mention a fatal flaw. This shocked Su Kingxiu. Alas, he is indeed his father, the one who killed the emperor with one sword. Su Kingxiu shook her head, and then concentrated on her practice. Suchanga, on the other hand, came up with an idea and started to browse the forum. This is, that post from that mysterious turtle? If the needle doesn't poke, I'm looking for you. Suchanga suddenly saw a post. It was sent by Emperor Suangi, saying that he would recruit disciples, and the time would be 3 days later. This is very rare. At the same time, the news that an emperor was recruiting disciples quickly spread throughout the upper world. It was extremely popular, and the casual cultivators in the upper world went crazy. Doesn't that old turtle sleep every day? Why did you start recruiting disciples? Suchanga looked at Linger, who was drinking. It's absolutely impossible for Linger to become a disciple anyway. But Linger needs Suangi's emperor's scripture. I still have to make a trip for my father. Well, the Black Turtle Emperor accepts disciples, and any monk who can cross the Sea of Death outside the Sea of Chaos can become a disciple of the Black Turtle Emperor. The Sea of Death is located on the periphery of the Sea of Chaos. The Sea of Chaos is the famous restricted area of life. If you cross the Sea of Death, you will see the Sea of Chaos in front of you. It can be said to be extremely dangerous, but even so, there are still countless casual cultivators going to the Sea of Death, hoping to win this opportunity. Once you join the Great Emperor's sect, your status will soar to the sky. At the same time, the Holy Land can be expected. There are still 3 days left in the Sea of Death. Let's go now and check out the situation. Suchanga closed the forum. At the same time, a message alert rang. It was from Nangong Win. Suchanga, have you captured Emperor Qinghai? Why do I feel that the aura of Emperor Qinghai has disappeared? Not caught. Why? Nangong Win was a little confused. Emperor Qinghai is not very strong. Logically speaking, Suchanga should be able to catch him. Why did he let Emperor Qinghai escape? Nangong Win couldn't feel the aura of Emperor Qinghai anymore. So it is natural to think that Emperor Qinghai ran away and hid again. After all, Emperor Qinghai has a treasure that hides his aura. He was killed by me, of course I didn't catch him. The corners of Nangongwen's mouth twitched slightly. Suchanga always gives her unexpected surprises. Hateful. Why kill him? If he wants to touch King Xiu, I will kill him. Good kill. Suchanga smiled. This female devil has reached an agreement with herself for the first time. As expected, the baby girl is the most distressing. Did you see the UN bell that day? What clock? Tianyuan bell. That's what he hid with. It seems like it was broken by me. A flash of surprise flashed in Nangongwen's eyes. The Tianyuan bell is made from fragments of an immortal weapon. But even if they are fragments, they are from the immortal weapon. What do you mean it was broken to pieces? Why can you be so strong even when you sleep every day? I underestimate you, Suchanga. Of course, if you take the initiative, I won't be able to use my full strength. Nangongwen's face turned red. This little bastard. Why do I always misunderstand what she means? Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 84. I'm going to go to the upper world soon. Do you want to go see you? Suchanga asked. See what I do? I don't miss you. You are lying. I don't. Yes, you miss me. Then I won't go to Heavenly Palace. You must come. She also said she didn't miss me. Snort. Nangongwen snorted, then directly put away the spiritual machine, and continued to digest the terrifying spiritual energy in the spiritual network. But she was happy in her heart. At least now Suchanga knew to tell her his whereabouts. It's not like that. It turns out that I flirted with girls all day long without telling her. When she came out of seclusion, she immediately discovered that there was a long song list in the world, which was full of gods and goddesses from all major forces. It was too outrageous. Shideo, take care of Linger and King Xiu, I have to go out. Suchanga warned. The Dao Slayer is basically invincible in the lower realm. Even if a figure of the great emperor level appears, he is definitely not the opponent of the Dao Slayer. The mother energy of all things, the Xiantian Beiyu, and the dragon-patterned black gold are the combination of the three. Dao killing spears are the pinnacle among imperial weapons. Good. The black dragon maid nodded. She likes the leisurely life now. At least it is much better than being at the foot of the bed. Linger also wants to follow. Linger flew into Suchanga's arms with a swish, and rubbed it with her little head. Then she raised her head and looked at Suchanga with her big watery eyes. Okay, then Linger will follow. Suchanga rubbed Linger's little head. Oops. My daughter is so cute that her father can't refuse any request. Little Linger is so cute. What about you, King Xiu? Do you want to follow? Suchanga looked at Su King Xiu. I won't go. A flash of confusion flashed in Su King Xiu's eyes. Then she rejected Suchanga's request. She wanted to practice hard. After what happened to Emperor Qinghai, Su King Xiu felt that her progress was still too weak. When Emperor Qinghai attacked her, she had no ability to resist at all. If her father hadn't been there, she would have had no chance of survival. She was too weak. If this continued, when would she be able to catch up with her mother? Okay, then you practice well. Suchanga smiled. Doesn't he still understand Su King Xiu's thoughts? Although he is young now, he is very strong. He must have been frightened by Emperor Qinghai. Humph. This damn Wang Erga really deserves to die? Then Suchanga's fingertips moved slightly, and a flash of sword light fell into Su King Xiu's ring. King Xiu, this sword light is used to protect the body and can be used many times. Suchanga smiled slightly. He would not give Suchanga any life-saving skills that could only be used once, and then let others take advantage of them. Since he gave it, it is absolutely foolproof. Good. Su King Xiu nodded, then smiled sweetly. Shideo, take good care of King Suo. After Suchanga finished speaking, he opened a space channel and took Sulinger to the upper world. He can open up this kind of space channel at will. How strong is his father? Su Kingxiu was in a daze. Looking at the slowly healing space passage, she was very shocked. She once thought that this cheap dad was immortal, but later she found out that he was a big boss, and then she found out that he could kill 10 murderers easily. He was probably a quasi-emperor who is close to the imperial realm. Now he realizes that even if he is above the emperor, he may not be his father's opponent. Su Kingxiu doesn't know the realm above the emperor, but it is definitely there. Gotta work hard. Ascend as soon as possible, then return to the Wushuan dynasty and solve those troubles. Su Kingxiu waved her little fist. Then start practicing seriously. As long as she ascends and the chaos body is activated, her realm will grow rapidly. Now is the time to lay the foundation, and she must not relax. Spit. Zideo vomited on the edge of the cliff, then ran to Suchanga's recliner and lay down tentatively. It was so comfortable. No wonder the owner lay on it every day. It was really enjoyable. Then there was a grunting sound. Heaven. At the border of the nine heavens realm, there is the vast sea of chaos. It is said that one can reach the edge of heaven by passing through the sea of chaos. But except for the great emperor, no one can reach the edge of the sea of chaos. Even the great emperor has a precedent of falling into the sea of chaos. After all, the depths of the chaos sea are where several supreme beings live. The boundary of the sea of chaos is the so-called sea of death. It is very likely that the Black Turtle Emperor will choose to become the supreme in the Sea of Chaos many years later. Suchanga brought Xiaolinger to the Sea of Death. Countless monks have gathered around the Sea of Death. Emperor Suangi, this time he accepted a disciple, most likely to prepare himself for entering the chaos in the future. The sea prepares to become supreme. Dad, there are so many people here. Linger timidly looked around from the depths of Suchanga's arms. She has never seen so many people since she was born. The last time there were so many people, it was the southern border and the Sand Clan battle, but it was always the lower world, the place where she was born, and the Sea of Death was a strange place she had never been to. Fortunately, her father was there. Linger is not afraid. These people want to cross the Sea of Death and obtain the inheritance of the Black Turtle Emperor. However, your father can take you directly to the Black Turtle Emperor. Suchanga pinched the tip of Linger's nose lovingly. Does that mean going through the back door? The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched slightly. Then he replied sternly, that's not true. Emperor Suangi has evil intentions and wants to become the supreme. My father will have to go to him sooner or later. If I go now, I can get Linger some skills by the way. What is the difference between the Supreme and the Great Emperor? I mean, Linger doesn't know much about cultivation. Linger blinked her big eyes, and there were big doubts in her little head. These words, Supreme, Great Emperor, were born in her mind, but she didn't understand them. It's just the chill of the sink. Only when she reaches a certain level of practice will she understand. The Supreme and the Great Emperor are actually in the same realm, but the Supreme is a bad guy. Linger just needs to remember that, and the Great Emperor can also become a bad guy. Suchanga tried his best to explain to Linger. Linger is still young now, and he doesn't want to input too many dirty truths into Linger. In fact, the so-called Supreme is the person who is at the top of the Emperor. Feeling that he has no hope of being above the Emperor, he starts devouring creatures, wiping out an era each time. Relying on the accumulation of flesh and blood of these creatures, they hope to break through to the realm above the Emperor. He couldn't stand this kind of person the most, so he beat up almost all the Supremes a few years ago. It's just that I didn't have enough strength at the time to kill them all. That's it, Linger remembered it. I mean, the Supremes are bad guys. Linger waved her little fist and was very angry. She didn't know why the Supreme was the bad guy. Anyway, her father said it, so she believed it without hesitation. Yes, dear Ling-er, now Dad will take you to find the Black Turtle Emperor. Suchanga smiled, and then he was about to step into the sea of death. Wait. Ling-er suddenly stopped Suchanga. What's wrong? Suchanga said doubtfully. If Ling-er passed the trial, would he also be able to obtain the imperial scripture of defense? It should be true. The original words of the Black Turtle Emperor were that if you pass the trial of the Sea of Death, you can obtain his inheritance. That Ling-er is going to take part in the trial. Can you tell Dad why? Suchanga was a little confused. I don't know what happened to Ling-er. Is it because he was very curious because he saw the trial for the first time? Sister Kingxia once told Ling-er that if you can fight for things by yourself, try your best to fight for them by yourself. You can't rely too much on your father and mother, otherwise your achievements in life will be very limited. Ling-er spoke very seriously. Kingxia will actually teach you this. Suchanga was a little surprised. He didn't expect Kingxia to think so clearly. It really makes sense. That's right, then Ling-er will go and take part in the trial. Suchanga smiled softly. He just took a look. The so-called trial actually has nothing to do with strength, but only with talent. So there is no great danger. And Ling-er is a member of the Holy Spirit clan. Was baptized by spiritual wine when he was born, and his talent is very evil. You must know that the Holy Spirit family is almost guaranteed to become a quasi-emperor. If the talent is slightly better, that is the great emperor. Yeah. Thank you, Daddy. That Ling-er is gone. Ling-er smiled happily and was about to fly away, but suddenly turned back, feeling that she couldn't bear to leave Suchanga. Suddenly she came out of Suchanga's arms and felt empty in her heart. What's going on? It must be she relies too much on her father. Go, Ling-er, Daddy is always by your side. Suchanga took out a bronze mask, put it on his face, and quickly disappeared. He wanted to confirm whether the Black Turtle Emperor wanted to be the supreme. If so, he can meet him today. It's bloody. Just give these supreme beings a vaccination. Okay. Although Ling-er couldn't see Suchanga anymore, he could vaguely feel that Suchanga was always behind him. So he felt very at ease. He flew directly to the edge of the Sea of Death. The vast Sea of Death was unusually strange. It is calm, but it is very lively around the Sea of Death. Many monks gather here. Most of them are casual cultivators. The real big forces have their own great emperor inheritance, and some big forces even have two emperors in one section. Only casual cultivators would expect this kind of inheritance. Is this the body of the Holy Spirit? Fire Spirit. Some casual cultivators were very shocked when they saw Ling-er. Then it caused an uproar. This time the Black Turtle Emperor accepted disciples, many divine bodies have been revealed. There are even several holy bodies. Now another Holy Spirit has appeared. How can these casual cultivators survive? Many people are looking at Ling-er. Ling-er was a little scared, so she quickly took out a wine gourd and drank a sip of wine for herself. My sister said this can make me brave. Thanks to Suchanga for helping Ling-er hide his aura, otherwise someone would definitely try to steal the Holy Spirit when they saw Ling-er's low strength. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 85. Lin Moran, the body of the Sword God, now has another Holy Spirit. It is estimated that the successor this time will be chosen from these two people. Some casual cultivators lamented. They are just here to try their luck. If they can be selected, it will be good. If they are not selected, they will not lose anything. After all, they are casual cultivators and have no sect. Usually they are lucky. Every spiritual soldier can be considered a prophet. Stop arguing, you will be able to enter the Sea of Death soon. The silent Sea of Death began to surge into waves. A huge turtle's back slowly emerged from the deep Sea of Death. It turned out to be a giant turtle tens of thousands of miles wide. This is the Black Turtle Emperor sitting down. The trial of the Sea of Death has begun. There is an island on the border of the Sea of Death. Do your best to go to that island. The first 5 monks to reach the island will be accepted as disciples by Emperor Black Turtle. A thick, abyss-like sound sounded. This black turtle has actually reached the realm of a saint. The casual cultivators were shocked. Even Lin Moran, the body of the sword god, was a little moved. He originally thought this was the Black Turtle Emperor, but he didn't. He thought that this was just the boy who belonged to the Black Turtle Emperor. The horror of this world was beyond his imagination. He was a time traveler. Once you become the disciple of the Black Turtle Emperor, you will have completely established a foothold in this world. The corner of Lin Moran's mouth raised a smile. The body of the Holy Spirit just now was really cute. Could it be that she was his heroine when they met like this? Lin Moran felt a little moved in his heart. He was familiar with his previous life. Naturally, she was knowing that he has become the destined child of this world. And the destined child has one standard, that is, a heroine who is extremely cute or incredibly beautiful. Now it seems that Sulinger looks very much like the heroine. This bastard boy has dangerous ideas. Suchanga's eyes flashed with dangerous light. With his strength, he knew exactly what Lin Moran was thinking. He checked Lin Moran casually and found that this guy's soul was highly mismatched with his body. What caused this situation? One is to seize the body, but to penetrate the soul. But obviously, Lin Moran's spiritual platform was completely clear, and he was not someone who had experienced body snatching. In other words, this guy is a time traveler. Regardless of whether you are a time traveler or not, it's best not to have any evil thoughts about Su's daughter. Suchanga thought in his mind and withdrew his spiritual consciousness from Lin Moran's body. Ding, fatal crisis detected. Ding, the fatal crisis has been resolved. Lin Moran was imagining the scene of beautiful women in the future, but suddenly heard the system's beep. He was startled. Fatal crisis. What is this? His golden finger is called the digitization system, which can convert the monks. Everything is digitized, and if someone can pose a threat to him, a prompt will be generated. For example, the black turtle just now, he can see that it has a full 30 million health points. The system also issued a warning tone. Maybe Emperor Black Turtle noticed me. The body of the sword god obtained through the lottery can be said to be invincible in the way of swordsmanship, so it is normal for me to be noticed. Lin Muren shook his head and stopped thinking about this matter. Then he looked at Sulinger, who was floating in the air and drinking spirit wine. System, check her data. Ding, testing completed. Nickname, Sulinger. Defense. Combat power. Realm. Lin Muren was dumbfounded. How is this going? He had encountered the Emperor's tomb once before, and even the Emperor's corpse system could detect its data, but why couldn't it detect it when facing Sulinger? Could it be that this is really the heroine? He is extremely talented and mysterious at the same time. He probably has some kind of treasure that can cover his aura. She is definitely the heroine of destiny. Hee, I don't know what will happen next. Lin Moran chuckled. He basically regarded Sulinger as the heroine in his heart. Suchanga frowned slightly. Something similar to spiritual consciousness just detected Linger. And the source is the time traveler. Suchanga glanced at Lin Moran. It turned out that this kid was wearing a wretched smile. He really deserved a beating. I hope you won't offend Linger. Suchanga smiled slightly. His opponents are Nangong Wen and these 2 daughters. Come on, try your best to reach the edge of the Sea of Death, pirates. Black Turtle Boy glanced at everyone, and then slowly sank to the bottom of the sea and disappeared. His huge body sank and caused a terrifying deep-sea vortex. It took half an hour for the vortex to gradually calm down. Some monks getting ready to move. 5 places. In other words, in addition to those 2 extremely perverted characters, we can also enter it. Someone among the casual cultivators suddenly said. Then everyone reacted. That's right. In addition to the Holy Spirit and Lin Moran, the body of the Sword God, there are 3 more places among them. A great opportunity. A great opportunity. Rush. The casual cultivators jumped up one by one and quickly flew towards the Sea of Death. The deep Sea of Death seemed like an abyss that could swallow everyone. Just a glance at it was chilling. They could only rely on flying across the Sea of Death. Some casual cultivators flew with swords, and some used the rainbow escape technique, but the speed was very slow. There was a terrifying pressure on the Sea of Death. Lin Moran smiled slightly. He took out a holy weapon level spiritual sword and stepped on it. The speed was amazing. He flew in front of all the monks, then quickly turned back and stopped in front of Ling-Er. This fairy, I wonder if I can ride the flying sword with you? The speed is very fast. Lin Moran looked at Ling-Er, who was floating in the air and had not yet set off, with a flash of possessiveness in his eyes. His destined heroine is so cute. She is only about 20 centimeters tall, and the hair on her head is still flickering. When you drink, your face turns slightly red, so cute. This fairy. No, no, no. Ling-Er quickly waved her hand and refused. Sister Kingxia told her that any man who takes the initiative to approach her is not a good person, except for her father. Why? This fairy, Lin, flies very fast with his sword. It won't be long before we reach the edge of the Sea of Death and enter the island. Lin Moran was a little puzzled. Isn't he the protagonist Long Aotian? Why did the heroine reject him? Logically speaking, shouldn't it be a sweet flight between the 2 of them? Then the heroine have a secret crush on him. In the end, he was rejected directly, which made Lin Moran a little at a loss. Just hurry up, what does it have to do with me? Ling-Er suddenly became aloof, pretending to be indifferent on her little face. She learned this expression from her mother. And her sister taught her the words. Once she said the words "what does it have to do with me," can cause great harm to men with ill intentions. Lin Muren was startled. Why are you so cold all of a sudden? But Lin Moran still wanted to struggle for a while. After all, this was the first Destiny heroine he met. If he couldn't win, his career as Long Aotian would not be complete. What do I have to do with you? Yujian flies faster. Fairy Ling-Er has been here for a long time. If she can't get through, she will lose the qualification to become the Emperor's disciple. What does it have to do with you whether I become a disciple of the great Emperor or not? Lin Muren was dumbfounded. What a tough rock to crack. No matter how hard he tried, so Ling-Er only had one sentence, what does it have to do with me? Good. Very cold. It is estimated that this is a cold-blooded heroine. She has to experience life and death with him before she can melt the iceberg. Yes, this is more challenging. Fairy Ling-Er, I look forward to meeting you in the future. Lin Moran showed a smile that he thought was chic. I'm not looking forward to it. The corners of Lin Muren's mouth twitched slightly. Another rejection. But it's pretty good. This is the challenge. Lin Muren comforted herself like this. Do you have anything else to do? If nothing happens, I'll leave. But even if you have something going on, what does it have to do with me? Ling-Er is extremely cold, with no expression on her face. She learned all this from Nangong Win. I have to say, it's really cold. What does it have to do with me? Lin Moran kept repeating this sentence in his mind, feeling as if he had eaten shit. I want to see how this destined heroine will survive the sea of death. Lin Moran just stayed aside and looked at Sulinger. Anyway, he was flying very fast with his sword and was not in a hurry. Then, Lin Moran saw a terrifying flying boat appearing in front of Lin Moran. Then Sulinger boarded the flying boat directly and quickly disappeared in front of Lin Moran. The speed was countless times faster than his sword flying. At the same time, the system gave Lin Moran the data of the flying boat. Unknown flying boat. Defense. Attack power. Quality, semi-immortal weapon. Damn it! Lin Moran was stunned. All the data were question marks, and the quality was actually a semi-immortal weapon. What is the status of this heroine? No, you can't leave it behind. Lin Moran gritted his teeth and began to fly with his sword. He immediately felt the casual cultivators in front of him, but he couldn't even see Sulinger's back. On the flying boat. Dad, didn't you agree that Linger should experience it on his own? Why are you taking a flying boat again? Linger blinked and asked curiously. There was no hint of coldness on his face. His eyes were full of Suchanga. The flying boat is faster. Suchanga responded. Is Dad jealous? Suchanga's face turned slightly red, which was rare to see. Ahem, how can a father be jealous? Is there really rice? Linger can feel it. Linger had a bad smile on her face. Really do not have. Dad is lying. Linger swooped into Suchanga's arms and hugged Suchanga tightly. Then she comforted him with a little adult tone. Daddy, be good, Linger will not leave Daddy. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 86. After finishing speaking, Linger flew up and touched Suchanga's head. Suchanga was immediately amused. Looking at Linger, who looked like a little adult, Suchanga suddenly felt a little warm. Linger is good. Suchanga smiled slightly. Then he activated the flying boat and rushed towards the edge of the Sea of Death with all his strength. The Sea of Death is vast and boundless, and an ordinary monk would probably have to fly for 4 or 5 days. This is still going at full speed. If you encounter the terrifying ferocious beasts in the Sea of Death are another matter. It is not certain whether you can live or not. The Sea of Death is tens of millions of feet deep, and the number of ferocious beasts in it is uncountable, and because it is close to the Sea of Chaos, infected by the breath of the Supreme, all ferocious beasts have no intelligence. They have only one will to exist. That is to eat. Devouring is the only way for them to become stronger. Therefore, it is estimated that there will be many monks in this trial feed these hungry ferocious beasts. Even under the boat of creation, there are countless ferocious beasts rising out of the water thousands of feet high, trying to devour them. But this will all cost their lives. Linger, this time let's try to draw out the firepower and try that old bastard. Suchanga smiled slightly. Then he waved his hands and set up barriers one after another, completely hiding the air machine of the boat of creation, and then hiding his own breath. The current boat of creation looks like an ordinary flying boat. Good. What is a tortoise? I mean, Linger has never heard this word before. Linger asked doubtfully. It's a turtle, a black turtle. If you meet a turtle, you'll call it a bastard. Ahem, forget it, that's not very civilized. Suchanga coughed twice. Then he set up a barbecue grill. On the grill, there was a huge grilled fish. Linger hasn't eaten grilled fish yet. Come and try it. The grilled fish will be ready soon. Although Linger is not drooling as greedily as Sukingsio, her eyes can't take her eyes off the grilled fish. Grilled fish. This is her first time eating fish. Hiss, it smells so good. I mean, Linger thinks grilled fish is much more delicious than barbecue. Soon, the grilled fish was ready, and then Linger started eating. The unique fish aroma was alluring to Linger instantly. How about grilled fish and spiritual wine? Suchanga asked with great interest. That must be spiritual wine. Xiao Linger quickly stuffed her wine gourd back. But he couldn't let his father confiscate the wine. Suchanga helplessly held his forehead. He is indeed a little drunkard. There is the so-called island ahead, Linger, let's go down. Suchanga narrowed his eyes slightly. This so-called island, it turned out to be a giant turtle. The Black Turtle Emperor. The body is so huge that just a little bit of the turtle shell is exposed, forming a vast and boundless island. And, he felt the desire to kill from the Black Turtle Emperor. Sure enough, this old turtle had not made a breakthrough for many years and began to have other ideas. No wonder the place where he settled back then was so close to the Sea of Chaos. He probably had already thought of a way out for himself. Go down, Linger, my father is following you. Suchanga smiled slightly, put away the flying boat, put on the bronze mask, and quickly disappeared. Got it, woohoo. Linger quickly took a bite of the grilled fish, and then threw the remaining grilled fish into the storage ring. Her body was relatively small and she couldn't hold a large piece of meat and gnaw it like Su Qingshu did. But it can still be done by putting it in a storage ring and taking out a small piece at a time. So Linger sat on the edge of the island, holding fish meat in his left hand and spiritual wine in his right hand, eating and drinking at the same time. What a pleasure it was. It's the Holy Spirit, yes, you can have a big meal this time. The Black Turtle Emperor felt the aura on his turtle shell and was very satisfied. This trial was his plan. Taking this opportunity, he would devour all the casual cultivators who came to be apprentices, plus all the forces around the Sea of Death in the Nine Heavens territory. It was enough for him to refine for a while. After that, he entered the Sea of Chaos. The Sea of Chaos was so big that once he hid in it, even that bastard woman from Tiangong couldn't do anything to him. There is also a sword god's body. The Black Turtle Emperor's eyes narrowed, and he saw Lin Moran flying towards the sword quickly. He was very satisfied. Two special physiques, both of which are top-level physiques. This is a great harvest. Then the Black Turtle looked at it for a while. He found that although the remaining monks had relatively good talents, they were far inferior to the Holy Spirit and the sword god's body, so he retracted the huge ghost head. Lin Moran fell directly on the back of the Black Turtle Emperor. Why does this island feel so powerful? Lin Moran was a little strange. Looking at the surrounding environment of the island, the rocks on the island were flashing with mysterious runes, which looked like the tortoise-shell spiritual weapons used by heavenly masters. Could it be that? System, detect this island. Lin Moran had a bold guess in his mind. Ding, detection completed. Black Turtle Emperor. HP, 14 billion. Attack power, 3 billion. Defense power, 4 billion. Realm, the Great Emperor's Peak. Hiss. Lin Moran didn't expect that he guessed it right. This island was actually transformed by the Black Turtle Emperor. Moreover, the data and its abnormality are much more tyrannical than the Emperor he tested before. He is worthy of being the most powerful person in the world, and he turned into an island himself. Why? Lin Moran felt a little strange. But then an idea flashed. He knew. This must be a test. It was the test that Emperor Suangi put to these monks. The 5 monks who came to the island were all on the back of Emperor Suangi. Then there will be various tests. Whoever finally discovers the true identity of the Black Turtle Emperor will become a true disciple. Or is it senior brother? Hiss, absolutely. Lin Moran was pleasantly surprised. Based on his experience of reading hundreds of fantasy novels in his previous life, his script has a 99% chance. Then wouldn't he definitely become a senior brother? Then Linger became his junior sister. Brothers and sisters, there won't be many opportunities in the future. By the way, where is Fairy Linger? Linger must have arrived earlier than me. Lin Muren thought, and then began to search on the island. Soon he found Linger sitting on the edge of the island eating meat and drinking. At this time, the dull hair on Linger's head moved with the sea breeze, eating grilled fish and drinking wine. It's so cute. It turns out that she is only cold on the surface and only takes off her mask when she is alone. Lin Moran thought. This is in line with the setting of the cold heroine in the novel. The general routine is that when the heroine takes off her cold mask, she is discovered by the son of destiny, and then the two of them develop a relationship. It's perfect. Oh. Didn't he break through Linger's cold veil now? With this thought in mind, Lin Moran walked directly towards Linger. Fairy Linger. I didn't expect you to have arrived so early. Hearing this, a flash of impatience flashed in Linger's eyes. Why is this bastard chasing after her? Linger quickly put away the grilled fish and spirit wine, and turned into an indifferent face. If I arrive early and stay late, what does that have to do with you? Fairy Linger, stop pretending. I know it all. What? You keep a cold face all the time just because you don't want the outside world can see your vulnerability, right? What does it have to do with you? Lin Muren's eyes flashed with helplessness. But at the same time, I was a little surprised. He was right. Otherwise, Linger wouldn't always put aside the relationship like this. Linger. Are your parents treating you badly? Like forced marriage or something? Lin Moran showed a smile that he thought was very handsome. According to the traditional routine, this is definitely the situation in the heroine's family. It is nothing more than a marriage between big forces, forced marriage, what kind of mess, and then the son of destiny helped him escape from the marriage, and then two people are perfect together. I guessed it right. Lin Muren saw Linger's sudden silence and said with a smile. He looked like he understood everything. But what greeted him was a series of prompts from the system. Ding, there is a major danger approaching. Ding, there is a major danger approaching. Lin Moran shuddered, feeling a peerless murderous intention lingering around him. If he continues like this, he will definitely die. If you speak ill of my parents again, I will never let you go. Linger said indifferently. This time it was not a disguise. It was indifference from the bottom of his heart. He wished he could kill Lin Moran directly in front of him. I was wrong, and I won't say it again. Lin Moran apologized quickly. Then the crisis tone was cleared. He knew that he had guessed wrong. Fairy Linger should be an untraditional fantasy heroine. After apologizing, the crisis sound disappeared. This shows that the crisis originated from Linger, which makes sense. After all, Linger's talent and life experience are so terrifying, and his absolute strength is incomparable. Even, strong enough to kill me easily. This is also in line with the setting of fantasy female protagonists. The female protagonists are much more powerful than the male protagonists. Only in the finale can the male protagonists catch up with the female protagonists. Lin Moran was thinking in his mind. He still naively thinks that he is the son of destiny. In fact, I don't know that I am just a leak. Yu had already dragged down and beheaded several of his destined sons back then. Soon, the remaining 3 people entered the island. Then the terrifying momentum disappeared in a flash. The 6th monk who almost entered the island died suddenly and his body sank to the bottom of the sea. Lin Muren was shocked. Then I saw the monks outside, all of them died suddenly and died in the sea of death. Sure enough, crisis and opportunity coexist. Fortunately, I didn't care about it, otherwise I would have died outside. Lin Muren patted his chest. He was a little lucky. But then a deep voice sounded. Next, it's you, my disciples. Then the whole island shook violently. Ding, there is a fatal danger approaching, there is a fatal danger approaching. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, daughter wrong wrong. Chapter 87. The system's sound prompts rang in Lin Moran's ears. He instantly realized that he had guessed wrong. Accepting him as a disciple and training in the Sea of Death is all bullshit. The purpose of this Black Turtle Emperor is to devour them. System, is there any way to escape now? Lin Moran asked anxiously. Facing the terrifying Black Turtle Emperor, he would definitely not be able to defeat him. He could only ask the system if there was any way to escape. In the past few times he encountered such a fatal crisis, the system had given him only after he found the solution did he survive. Ding, system analysis in progress. Ding, solution analysis in progress. Ding, the solution is completed. Lin Moran felt anxious in his heart. He was flying in the sky, watching the Black Turtle Emperor slowly float up, and the island gradually turned into a small bulge on the Black Turtle Emperor's turtle shell. He was extremely panicked. Solution, every full attack of the host will cause 1 point of damage to the Black Turtle Emperor. Attack the Black Turtle Emperor 13 billion times to kill the Black Turtle Emperor and successfully escape. Lin Moran was silent. What a stupid system. 13 billion full force attacks, he would have been dead long ago. Not to mention whether he can hold on for 13 billion times, he will die if the Black Turtle Emperor exhales. Wait, why is Linger so calm? Lin Moran suddenly squinted his eyes and noticed Linger flying in the sky. The other 3 casual cultivators were so panicked that they were already crying, and there was yellow urine seeping out of their trouser legs. They were frightened to the point of incontinence by the Black Turtle Emperor. And Fairy Linger, flying in the air and eating the fragrant barbecue. No panic at all. Yes. This is a fairy who directly drives a semi-immortal weapon-level flying boat. The power behind it is absolutely terrifying and I can't imagine it. Even the power behind the Black Turtle Emperor is probably very small compared to Linger. No wonder Linger didn't panic at all. Then Lin Moran made a choice and hid behind Linger. What you do? Linger was eating grilled fish and observing the Black Turtle Emperor, wanting to see the difference between this black turtle and the bastard in his father's mouth. Then suddenly he saw Lin Moran flying towards him. So Linger touched him. She lost her own ring. There is a sword energy that Suchanga gave her. Ding, there is a fatal danger coming. Ding, there is a fatal danger coming. System prompts made Lin Moran stop in his tracks. Don't get too close to Linger. Although she is my destined heroine, I cannot get too close to her. After all, I am not familiar with her yet. But what is certain is that all my life this time lies with Linger. Lin Moran thought to himself, then stopped and kept a certain distance from Linger. The body of a sword god, plus the Holy Spirit, this kind of talent really makes me envious. The Black Turtle Emperor emerged from the water and said dully. The atmosphere in the air was a little stagnant. The mighty Emperor's power had even caused the entire Sea of Death to surge. Hearing this, Linger was very interested, and Lin Moran was extremely panicked. The other 3 casual cultivators were directly suppressed by the Emperor's power and fell into the water, and were swallowed by the huge mouth of the Black Turtle. Appetizers, not bad, here are you too. The Black Turtle Emperor smiled sinisterly, and a hint of cruelty appeared on the huge ghost head. Now that you have chosen this path, there is no possibility of retreat. Either stay where you are for the rest of your life, or become the supreme and seize the chance of a breakthrough. He is too strong. So he knows how terrifying his strength will be when he goes one step further. What's more, the digital supremes in the Sea of Chaos are watching here. He must kill him as a certificate of submission, otherwise the Sea of Chaos will not accept him. Boom. With a loud noise, huge waves hit Linger and Lin Moran. In the huge waves, Terrifying imperial power and peerless murderous intent were brewing. At the same time, the water in the Sea of Death began to surge, surging directly towards the sect on the border of the Nine Heavens territory. The door swept away. In the future, this disaster will be known as the tsunami of the Sea of Death. The Black Turtle Emperor laughed. It was very cruel. The world will not even know who did it. They will only know that a tsunami appeared in the Sea of Death, and all the monks on the border of the Nine Heavens territory were drowned. Ding, there is a death crisis approaching. Len Muren sacrificed his sacred flying sword and slashed out a terrifying sword light. He wanted to resist this deadly giant wave. But it only slightly slowed down the speed of the giant wave reaching him, and it had no other effect. But the sacred sword blade in Lin Moran's hand broke into pieces. Your life value is reduced by 312W. The remaining life value is 1W. Lin Moran frowned. Just one blow brought him to the edge of death. The Black Turtle Emperor probably despised them, so he didn't attack with all his strength, otherwise he would definitely die from that blow just now. Correct. Where's Ling-Er? Lin Muren looked in the direction of Ling-Er just now, but found that all the waves were avoiding Ling-Er, as if Ling-Er was some peerless and terrifying existence. He couldn't even get closer than 20 meters to Ling-Er. What's happening here? Ling-Er. Sure enough, all hope for survival lies with Ling-Er. But this is also necessary. If you don't experience something with the Destiny heroine, it is absolutely impossible to be with her. Lin Muren is just a stupid pig with a sperm head. Even at this point, he still thinks that he is a traveler of Long Aot and Liu. He is the son of Destiny. He is still thinking about the daughter of Destiny. But suddenly, an ethereal voice resounded through the Sea of Death. It was Ling-Er who spoke. That, the bastard emperor, ah no. Emperor Suangi, I'm here to ask you for some skills. Ling-Er scratched her head in embarrassment, the hair on her head swaying. Why did she say what her father forbade her to say? It's not good to call her a bastard. What did you say? Emperor Suangi had a sullen face. In his life, he hated people calling him a bastard. Back then, that bastard woman from Tiangong beat him while calling him a bastard. This incident has always left a lot of big shadows in his heart, so as long as someone says the word bastard, he will kill them without mercy. Ling-Er said that he wanted the skills of Emperor Suangi. Ling-Er mustered up her courage and said word for word. Her little face was full of seriousness. What's wrong with you? The Black Turtle Emperor frowned. He has already swallowed 3 people. Can't you see that the Holy Spirit still wants to be his disciple? He also wants Kung Fu. He wants Kung Fu at the expense of his life. This is too strong. Lin Muren's mouth twitched. Now they are going to die? Are you still saying this because Ling-Er is confident? That must be it. Lin Moran's confidence in surviving became even greater. Die. The Black Turtle Emperor didn't want to waste any more words. He opened his huge mouth and jumped up. His huge body set off a terrifying giant wave and bit at Ling-Er at the same time. There were no fancy tricks, just 2 small shrimps. Although the talent is good, it is really bad. Ah! Lin Muren felt the crisis of death and couldn't help but tremble and yell to be brave. His heart was full of despair. Why didn't Ling-Er take action? If he didn't take action, he would die. At the critical moment, Ling-Er took out a weapon, just now large skewers for grilled fish. There are some uneaten grilled fish on top. Boom! The iron stick in Ling-Er's hand erupted with terrifying imperial power, directly blocking all the attacks of the Black Turtle Emperor. Imperial weapon. Is it the Stone Emperor's Sky Burial Spear? Why are you here? Suangi Emperor was a little surprised. Yes, why are you here? Ling-Er herself was confused. The reason why she was so indifferent and wanted to take out the pick and eat some grilled fish was because she knew that her father was always by his side. but she didn't expect that Suchanga hadn't made a move yet. The iron stick broke out first. Awesome. Lin Moran thought to himself. The grilled fish Sulinger always eats is grilled with imperial weapons. What a difference. He suddenly doubted himself. But then I cheered myself up, he is the protagonist of Long Ao Tian Lu. I will definitely be able to catch up with Linger in the future. Snort. What about the Stone Emperor? The Stone Emperor has long since degenerated into a supreme being and is hiding in Wuliang Mountain. Even if you are his descendant, I will swallow you up. Suangi Emperor had a gloomy face. Linger just called him a bastard, so Linger must die. Otherwise, for the sake of the Stone Emperor, Linger can be spared. Die. The great Emperor Suangi sacrificed a precious mirror to block the Emperor's sky burial spear, and then rushed towards Linger. Now Linger couldn't resist at all. Lin Moran was also worried. Then he saw Linger touching himself storage ring. Then the color of the world suddenly changed. Wild winds and thunderstorms swept across the entire Sea of Death, and at the same time, the high sky seemed to be falling. A terrifying sword light was cut out from Linger's ring. Lin Moran seemed to be confused. I saw a peerless swordsman in white. It was terrifying. The sky was falling. The sky seemed to be collapsing. Then, in Lin Moran's eyes, at the moment when the sword light came into contact with the Black Turtle Emperor, a big red critical hit data appears. 12.99 billion. Lin Moran was silent. The sword light in the ring should have been given by the elders in the family for protection, but this sword light directly caused 12.9 billion explosion damage. What kind of terrifying sword light is this? Just a sword light is so terrifying, what is the real person's strength? Lin Moran began to doubt himself, could he become so awesome with the golden finger? Ah! Then the Black Turtle Emperor screamed, and the ghost's head was almost cut off. Hiss! Suchanga, who was hiding in the dark, took a breath of cold air. The image is so strong that it's starting to hurt a little bit. The Black Turtle Emperor was injured, and his blood volume was minus 12.99 billion. 10 million remaining blood. Lin Moran looked at the data given by the system and fell into silence. The Black Turtle Emperor was dying. This swordsmanship, it belongs to that bitch. You are the successor of that bitch. Although Emperor Suangi was on the verge of death, he still cursed angrily. In this life, even if he dies, he will still have to leave wounds on Nangong Wen, the bastard woman who scolded him and beat him up. Then Emperor Suangi, directly open your huge mouth and suck up all the water in the Sea of Death. Your blood volume will be fully restored instantly. The Sea of Death has turned into a ravine-ridden cliff and rift valley. It's just that it's so deep. The vast and endless Sea of Death was actually sucked up by the Black Turtle Emperor. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 88. Hiss. There is actually a second life. Lin Murin was completely shocked. Isn't this a common method used in Soul series games? After executing the first wave, the second wave of bosses will be even more tyrannical. System, check the Black Turtle Emperor. Ding, testing completed. The Black Turtle Emperor. HP, 81 billion. Attack power, 40 billion. Defense power, 60 billion. Realm, the Great Emperor's Peak, state of gifted and magical powers. Lin Murin was silent. Awesome. The Black Turtle Emperor with the second life bar has all kinds of data increased more than 10 times. But the realm is still at the peak of the Great Emperor. It seems that there is a huge gap between the top combat power in this world and each small realm. Die. The Black Turtle Emperor took action brazenly, carrying unparalleled power. No matter how many tricks Sulinger had, he was just a holy spirit who had just begun to practice. It only takes a little time to kill Sulinger. That's all. It's over. Linger. Lin. Muran exclaimed. He was a little desperate. He found that he was of no use at all. But at this moment, a figure in white appeared in front of the Black Turtle Emperor. He had an outstanding temperament and unparalleled elegance. The most important thing is, this man's face wears a bronze mask. The mask seems to have thousands of expressions, including joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. In other words, it is like smiling but not smiling, neither sad nor happy. It's you, Lord of Heavenly Palace. When Emperor Suangi saw that representative bronze mask, he instantly felt fearful in his heart. This is a mask that impressed all the supreme beings or emperors who have been beaten. Bronze mask. Not her. Suchanga smiled softly and stood with his hands behind his back in the air. He is just a normal person, but compared to the Black Turtle Emperor, he can even be said to be so small that he cannot be seen. If a picture is formed, Suchanga will be in the Black Turtle Emperor. There is even only one pixel in front of him. But even this difference in body shape gives others the feeling that Suchanga is looking down at the Black Turtle Emperor. The most powerful. And what's going on with that bronze mask? Lin Muran felt like his head was getting big. As a time traveler, who doesn't know the bronze mask? Coupled with the expression that looked like a smile but not a smile, neither joy nor sadness, and the unparalleled temperament, if it weren't for the male voice, he would have thought he was a cruel person. Suangi, do you know who Su hates the most in his life? What? Xiangui was facing a powerful enemy and did not dare to act rashly. Even if a mortal wore a bronze mask, he would not dare to take action rashly. What's more, he was in front of this magnificent person. What Su hated most in his life was the tortoise. Suchanga smiled softly. Damn it! Suangi Emperor was furious. These two words are his reverse scales. Just like Emperor Qinghai and Wang Ergu. Then, the world shook, and Suangi Emperor directly took action with all his strength. Su is most disgusted with the Supreme and the monks who want to become the Supreme. Suchanga waved his hand gently, and the Black Turtle Emperor's attack was directly neutralized and disappeared. The gap in strength is clearly visible. How can it be? The Black Turtle Emperor was a little shocked. It's also a bronze mask, but why is this guy so much stronger than Nangong Win? His offensive was eliminated with a wave of his hand. And he was blessed with innate magical powers. The Supreme swallows up all living beings and achieves his own goals. It's time to clean up. Let's start with you, Emperor Black Turtle. Suchanga waved his hand. The mighty spiritual power was inspired. Waves of golden light shone on the heaven and earth. And the Black Turtle Emperor melted directly under this golden light, without even making a cry for mercy. In the end, only one person was left. Huge turtle shell. Normal attack, minus 80 billion. Black Turtle Band, dead. Damn it! Lin Moran's calves were spinning. 80 billion HP in one move. It's a normal attack. Is this a human? It is estimated that one move is 80 billion because the Black Turtle Emperor only has 80 billion health, otherwise this data may be even more terrifying. What kind of character is this? Linger's elder. Lin Moran was shocked. Sure enough. There is no ordinary person who can wear the bronze mask. They are all top bosses in the fantasy world. Although the tortoise shell was a little broken, it was just used for Linger self-defense, and the defensive power was enough. However, I still forgot about the imperial magic. I didn't really want to see Linger wearing a carapace. Suchanga thought for a moment and put away the tortoise shell. As for the Emperor's Sutra of the Black Turtle, he did not consider it. Then, Suchanga looked at Lin Moran. Lin Moran was instantly frightened. I think it's not easy for you to travel through time, so I'll let you live. If you provoke Linger again, you should be clear about the consequences. Suchanga's tone was extremely cold. Linger had never seen Suchanga so cold before. He quickly went up and touched Suchanga's head, and then hugged Suchanga tightly. I see. Lin Murin was greatly shocked. The fact that he was a time traveler was actually discovered by this big boss. He felt bitter in his heart. He actually provoked this big boss's people. If he had experienced this before, he might have thought that this was a fantasy plot. After all, when the male protagonist chases the female protagonist, he will always be looked down upon by the strong woman. But now, seeing the 80 billion damage basic attack, he completely changed his mind. Thank you, Senior, for not killing me. Lin Murin gave a big salute, and then staggered towards the outside of the Sea of Death. When he saw Sulinger again in the future, he would take a detour. Now Lin Murin completely recognized himself. It turns out that in this world, there is a boss who can tell that he is a time traveler. From then on, Lin Moran became anonymous and even changed his name to another one. In heaven, there is no more Lin Moran. Daddy. Not bad, so handsome. Linger likes it? Linger smiled evilly and pinched Suchanga's face. This made Suchanga a little embarrassed. Ahem, don't say that to your father. My sister taught me this. What else did your sister teach you? Also teach Linger, you can't tell your dad this. Sulinger suddenly turned red, white gas came out of her head, her eyes were evasive, and she was extremely shy. Looking at Suchanga like this, how could he not understand what Sukingsua was teaching? Damn it! The good and pure Linger was led astray by Sukingsua. My sister taught me, Linger should always praise his father, so that he can have spiritual wine to drink. Linger's face turned red. Suchanga was stunned. That's it? Then you blush like a bubble teapot. Linger, don't learn the imperial scriptures about defense. My father will help you refine a defensive treasure. Why not learn? Because if you learn it, you will become as ugly as that black turtle. Are you willing to carry the carapace every day? Then don't. Linger doesn't want it? Linger tilted her head and imagined herself carrying a turtle shell, and quickly shook her head. It's so ugly. How can the cute Linger carry a turtle shell? Then he would be a bastard. He can't. Accept. Let's go, Linger, go to the Divine Phoenix clan for your father's sake and ask them to help repair this turtle shell. Suchanga smiled and touched Linger's little head. Then he rushed towards the habitat of the Divine Phoenix clan. The Divine Phoenix clan can be reborn from blood, and the Divine Phoenix Emperor technique of the immortal Divine Phoenix is known to be able to repair everything. Just ask him to help repair the turtle shell. Otherwise, it will be in tatters and it will not be good to serve as a spiritual soldier for my daughter. The Divine Phoenix clan is the most powerful force in the Nine Heavens territory, but they have always remained hidden from the world and do not care about worldly affairs. The ancestor of the Divine Phoenix clan, the immortal Divine Phoenix, has even reached the level of the Great Emperor. But it's just a rumor, and Suchanga is not sure what level it is. After all, we have never met. When he was getting married to Huangjug and was about to meet the immortal Phoenix, Suchanga ran away. Outside the habitat of the Divine Phoenix clan. It is rumored that the immortal Phoenix has an immortal Phoenix sword with unparalleled combat power, which has suppressed the Sea of Chaos for more than 300,000 years. Suchanga took the inspiration and browsed the forum, looking for information about the immortal Divine Phoenix. He found that this immortal Divine Phoenix was actually the same person as the immortal Divine Phoenix in the covering sky. If you think about it, it's more like the Great Emperor of the Void. The immortal Divine Phoenix actually suppressed the 13 supreme beings in the Sea of Chaos for a full 370,000 years. Ever since he became an emperor, he has been fighting against the Sea of Chaos, and then broke into the Great Emperor's peak, and then broke into above the Great Emperor. The 13 supreme beings could only join forces to resist. The Divine Phoenix clan was also reborn again and again in bloody battles in the restricted area. Suchanga liked this kind of person very much. This is it. Suchanga turned into a rainbow and landed on the divine phoenix clan that was full of sycamore trees. Although they were all divine phoenix, there were no monstrous flames here, and the sycamore trees only showed red like maple leaves. The pavilion is built like a residence for immortals. It is very elegant. This immortal divine phoenix is still a very particular person. Suchanga said with a smile. Ling-Er, who was in Suchanga's arms, stretched out his little head and looked around curiously, looking at this place that he had never seen before. Coming out with Daddy was such a good decision. Ling-Er has now seen the vastness of this world. She is extremely curious about everything in this world. When she goes out with Suchanga, even if she is just wandering around, she can see a different world. This is better than being idle. It's much better in Duantianya. Is it a visit, or is it to directly lure the immortal phoenix out? Suchanga was a little hesitant. He didn't know which method to take. But just as he hesitated, a scream sounded, and a young divine phoenix looked at Suchanga in surprise. The saint's consort is back. Where? I want to see. I had never seen what a prince-in-law looked like back then. In an instant, Suchanga was surrounded by the divine phoenix. Pairs of curious eyes stared at Suchanga. If he hadn't known the history of the divine phoenix clan, he would never have thought that these pairs of gossipy eyes came from an divine phoenix members who have been fighting for more than 300,000 years in the restricted area of life. Ahem, Ling-Er, don't listen to their nonsense. Suchanga was a little embarrassed. The dark history was known to Ling-Er. When the divine phoenix clan asked him to marry him, of course he couldn't agree. So he ran away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, the Empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, Daughter Wrong. Chapter 89. Goddess Consort. Where is it? Where is it? Many members of the Divine Phoenix tribe were staring at Suchanga, which made Suchanga a little embarrassed. But at this moment, an elegant voice sounded. Let him in. Hearing this voice, the expressions of all the Divine Phoenixes became extremely respectful, and they all backed down and made way for a passage. Then a Divine Phoenix led the way and brought Suchanga to the depths of the pavilion. The pavilion in the sky. There is also a clear spring. The flowing water makes the scene look like a fairyland. In this fairyland, there is a man who looks like an elegant scholar, sitting quietly. In front of him, there is a simple chessboard. You came. The immortal phoenix opened and closed his eyes, and his gaze fell on the ring in Suchangsong's song. He was slightly shocked, but his expression remained unchanged. Come on, do me a favor and mend something for me. Suchanga smiled, very familiar with it. What does it have to do with me? Immortal Divine Phoenix asked back. He was not easy to talk to at all. He remembered that Suchanga once escaped from marriage in the Divine Phoenix clan, which made the saint not in the mood to practice for a year, and even flirted with the goddess of the dragon clan. Originally, Suchanga thought the song was mediocre. But today, feeling the overwhelming imperial power, he knew that Suchanga had fought with the black turtle. He didn't know the result, but judging from the situation, Suchanga should have won, otherwise he would have won. Won't appear here. Help me repair the turtle shell and refine a defensive treasure for me, and I can reward you. Suchanga waved his hand. Although this immortal divine phoenix may look like a scholar with a gentle personality, how can a person who has suppressed the sea of chaos for more than 300,000 years have a gentle personality? It's best to get straight to the point, otherwise you will have to spend a lot of effort. No matter how you say it, the immortal phoenix is a hero in suppressing the supreme being. He cannot beat people up for no reason. Turtle shell? Is this the shell armor of the Black Turtle Emperor? The immortal divine phoenix jumped up and stared at the black tortoise shell armor inside Suchang's. The black turtle emperor just died like that? That old bastard has extremely terrifying defense. If he insists on saving his life, even his immortal phoenix sword couldn't kill that old bastard. Unexpectedly, it died in the hands of Suchanga. For a moment, the immortal phoenix thought a lot of Suchanga, and even put it on the list of one's own level. So what reward can you give? Will you marry me into the divine phoenix clan? The immortal divine phoenix said with a smile. He also looked at Linger hidden in Suchanga's hair with some curiosity. Linger was so frightened that he quickly retracted his little head. Interesting. It's still the Holy Spirit. You can choose any of these materials. Suchanga threw a storage ring to the immortal divine phoenix. In this storage ring, there are all the materials he has snatched from the Supreme over the years. The Supreme is not all the top figures of the great emperor. In every restricted area, there is at least one Supreme being above the great emperor. So Suchanga is sure that the immortal phoenix will definitely be interested in these good things. The immortal divine phoenix took the ring. He was not very clear in his mind. For a person of his level, ordinary materials are of no use at all. Unless they are very rare materials like dragon-patterned black gold and phoenix blood red gold, they can be used. His heart moved. Although Suchanga was powerful, he was young after all. Where could he get so many good things? I guess 1 or 2 elixirs would be good. The next second, the immortal phoenix opened the ring, and then the whole person was stunned. A flash of shock flashed across Gujing Muobo's face. Phoenix blood red gold, mother energy of all things, Xiantian jade, and even fairy artifact fragments. Even after years of self-cultivation, the face of the immortal divine phoenix is still somewhat moved. How about a deal? Suchanga asked with a smile. The fragments of this immortal weapon should belong to Xiantian Supreme, right, the Xiantian Emperor, who once conquered the restricted area, eventually became the Supreme. The immortal phoenix responded in a confused manner. He did not directly answer the matter about the transaction. Instead, he talked about the immortal weapon of Emperor Xiantian. The Dragon Slayer will eventually become the evil dragon. Suchanga shrugged. All the Forbidden City Supremes were all-powerful figures back then, and were admired by countless people. But in the end, didn't they all choose to become Supremes? They embarked on a path of devouring other living beings to strengthen themselves. So, help me mend the turtle shell, and I can give you the fragment of the fairy weapon. No. The immortal phoenix refused with a smile on his face. Suchanga was a little confused. If you refuse, just refuse, why are you still looking at him like this? Laughing hammer. Being rejected is an unpleasant thing. Hiss. Hold it. For the sake of the immortal divine phoenix suppressing the sea of chaos in the restricted area for many years, let him go this time, otherwise he will have to be beaten. Well. Suchanga sighed and prepared to leave. Fellow Daoist, stay. The emperor agreed. The immortal phoenix suddenly stopped Suchanga. The corners of Suchanga's mouth twitched. Do you know that this is too much for you? How about I help you repair Emperor Suanation's shell armor, and as reward, join forces with me to suppress the Sea of Chaos and kill the 13 supreme beings. The eyes of the immortal divine phoenix are burning with blazing flames. At this time, it no longer has the temperament of an elegant scholar. Instead, it is an ancient divine phoenix who fights in the world and on the battlefield, and is not afraid of death to suppress the supreme. Good. Suchanga nodded slightly. This was originally one of the purposes of his trip, and it just happened to be solved by the way. It can also be regarded as repaying the cause and effect of escaping from the marriage. The Sea of Chaos is different from the dead silence of the Sea of Death. The Sea of Chaos is like boundless chaos. It is always rioting endlessly. Except for the emperor, even the saints cannot resist this kind of riot. Fellow deists, are you sure? If I'm sure, I'll start the live broadcast. The immortal divine phoenix actually came up with an idea. After hearing Suchanga's response, the immortal phoenix started the live broadcast very skillfully. Then he carved the emperor's pattern on the spiritual machine to ensure that his spiritual machine would not be destroyed by the aftermath of the battle. In fact, even Suchanga couldn't defeat him. The immortal divine phoenix is also sure to bring Suchanga out. After all, the Sea of Chaos is where he has been fighting for more than 300,000 years. That's why he is sure to start the live broadcast. If he can't finish the killing, he will beat him up, and he can still give the world serve as warning. Hello everyone, this is the Sea of Chaos. The immortal divine phoenix smiled slightly and nodded towards Lingji's camera. For a moment, Suchanga felt as if his character had collapsed. Isn't your special thing about suppressing the restricted area for 300,000 years and spending your whole life to conquer the Supreme? Even if the last trace of Emperor's blood is shed? How come you are so skilled in live broadcasting? Let me introduce to you, this is fellow deist Su, a figure in the same realm as this Emperor. This time we join forces to completely exterminate the Sea of Chaos. A murderous intent flashed in the eyes of the immortal phoenix. The audience in the live broadcast room was excited. As a well-known figure in the restricted area, the immortal phoenix has more than hundreds of millions of fans in the live broadcast room. When the live broadcast started, almost all the monks in the heaven heard about it. This news. Then the camera turned to the Sea of Chaos. There were riots in the sea area, and the terrifying sea water carried terrifying power. Each step was a terrifying vortex, or a giant wave thousands of feet high, or a huge black monster jumping up from the deep sea. Film. Sea of Chaos. Is the immortal phoenix going to make a big move this time? Who is that great emperor? He can be made a Taoist friend by the immortal phoenix. He seems to be a very proud person. At this time, not only the nine heavens domain, but also the big figures from all the holy places or ethnic groups in the 33 heavens domain came up with ideas and watched the live broadcast attentively. Just looking at the title of the live broadcast room, I feel excited. Conquer the restricted area 70,000 years later, the Sea of Chaos will be destroyed today. Alas, the immortal phoenix said he would destroy the Sea of Chaos in the 370,000th year. I wonder when I will see him truly destroy the Sea of Chaos. An old man with a grey beard sighed slightly. He was sitting in the city like a beggar, but he was watching the live broadcast with an idea in his hand. If someone heard what he said, it would definitely shock the world. Fellow deists, let's go in. The Sea of Chaos is vast, and those supreme beings are hidden in the deepest part of the Sea of Chaos, even lurking in the deep sea. Search carefully. The immortal divine phoenix warned. These supreme beings won't hurt when they hit people, but they can run really fast. Especially with the help of the natural advantage of the Sea of Chaos to create a boundless formation to form a restricted area of life, they are even more at home. Is this a formation? An incomplete chaos formation, no wonder it is called the Sea of Chaos. Suchanga took a look and discovered what was different about the Chaos Sea. The layout of each deep sea vortex was exquisite, and together they formed a chaotic formation. However, this formation was not very perfect. It's not even the slightest bit different from the chaotic formations he's seen before. It's just a glimmer of it. Fellow deists, let's take our time, don't be in a hurry. After so many years, those supreme beings are very cunning. Fellow deists, you. What are you doing? Just after the immortal divine phoenix told Suchanga to take it slow, he saw Suchanga punching the vortex of the Chaos Sea. The vortex with a diameter of tens of thousands of feet was instantly shattered, and countless amounts of seawater were evaporated. It even exposed the seabed hundreds of millions of feet below, forming a huge hole with no sea water to replenish it for a while. I see. Suchanga nodded slightly. The deep sea vortex of this chaotic sea is changing its position all the time. The immortal divine phoenix, these vortexes are part of the great formation, and they will destroy all the vortexes. Will those supreme beings soon have no place to hide? Suchanga smiled slightly. I know this. But if you want to destroy it, you must destroy all the vortices at the same time, which is simply impossible. The immortal divine phoenix shook his head. This is not something that a great emperor can do at all. Unless he comes into contact with the realm of immortals, there is only the slightest possibility. Sea of Chaos. Dare to be named by chaos, it is not that simple. You misunderstood. What I meant was, wouldn't it be enough to evaporate all the sea water? When the immortal phoenix heard Suchanga's words, his face was filled with astonishment. He looked at the vast sea of chaos. How can this be? Fantasy, the empress was reincarnated as my daughter. Author, daughter wrong. Chapter 90. The immortal divine phoenix swallowed a mouthful of saliva and was deeply shocked. Evaporate the entire sea of chaos. Not to mention that the sea water in the chaos sea is a kind of spiritual water, which is extremely difficult to evaporate. Even if the entire chaos sea is the most ordinary water in the mortal world, it will still take a lot of effort to evaporate all the sea water. Burning immortal furnace. Suchanga searched for a while in his ring and found a shabby stove. The immortal phoenix was stunned. All the viewers in the live broadcast room were also stunned. Some of the great sages looked confused, wondering what Suchanga had brought out. But some of the emperors who were watching the live broadcast cheered up because they saw something different from this old stove. Above the great emperor is the supreme realm, and even higher is the immortal. There is an aura of immortality on that old stove. All the great emperors in the 33 heavens domain were shocked. No matter what level of emperor he is, he hopes to advance to the supreme level in the future, and then hopefully achieve the path of immortality. Sudayu, this is the fairy furnace. The immortal divine phoenix was completely stunned. He no longer had that calmness. As an emperor of the supreme realm, he knew very well what this broken furnace meant. The immortal path he had been pursuing all his life actually existed. In an unknown small city. The old beggar watching the live broadcast almost choked on a mouthful of water and coughed repeatedly. As an emperor of the highest realm, he almost choked on the water, which is enough to show how shocking the content in the live broadcast is. It actually exists. The immortal path I have been seeking for hundreds of thousands of years actually exists. The beggar's face was full of shock. He looked at the cold noodles in his hand that he had begged for. Then he threw the cold noodles directly to the ground. Go to hell and travel around the mortal world and become an immortal in the mortal world, that bastard woman is just fooling herself. He vaguely remembers that many years ago, he achieved the godless realm, but he could not find the path to immortality no matter what. Then he met a woman with a bronze mask and told him to play in the world of mortals. Only by experiencing thousands of reincarnations can he break into the immortal world of mortals. As a result, after so many years, Te Niang's state has not loosened at all. The old beggar was angry and just about to curse. A holy monk passed in front of him. Are you watching Death Phoenix's live broadcast? Not bad, not bad. Let me give you a top-quality spiritual stone. Thanks, thanks. The old beggar bowed and thanked him habitually, with joy from the bottom of his heart. Then he was suddenly startled. The shackles of the realm within his body were actually loosened in the slightest. Ecstasy came to the heart of the old beggar. In the heavenly palace, Nangong Wen sat high on the throne, with an eternal bronze mask on her face. No joy or sorrow can be seen. The main hall was empty except for Nangong Wen. In front of her, there was an inspiration. In the picture, it was the live broadcast of the immortal divine phoenix, but the protagonist of the live broadcast was Suchanga. The immortal phoenix, which has been fighting in the restricted area for more than 300,000 years, has become a decoration. This bastard, the first thing he did when he got to heaven was not to come to me. A faint resentment flashed in Nangong Wen's eyes. She waited for 800,000 years before she waited for Suchanga. In the end, this guy turned out to be such a bastard. But she just liked him inexplicably. It's really strange. Immortal burning furnace, is this something from the fairy world? Nangong Wen's eyes flickered. Although she has become immortal, she still has not found the existence of the legendary immortal world, let alone an immortal weapon. I will have to ask Suchanga where this thing came from sometime. Sea of Chaos. Su, Senior Su? Is this stove from the fairy world? Does the fairy world really exist? In other words, there does exist a fairyland above the godless realm. The immortal phoenix asked in rapid succession. Suchanga didn't know how to answer for a moment. Ahem, I forgot where I got it. I passed by a more interesting world a few years ago. Suchanga said. Then the spiritual power activated the immortal burning furnace. Boom. An inexplicable majesty spread, and the dust on the old furnace gradually dissipated, revealing his whole appearance, very simple, but every line they are all in line with the great road, return to nature. Burn. The flames surged in the immortal burning furnace. The entire chaos sea shrank at an alarming speed. The sea water rolled into clouds and mist, and then floated into the sky. In less than a moment, the entire chaos sea disappeared. It's time to stop. Suchanga thought to himself, but it was the first time he used this broken stove, and he couldn't control it well for a while. He stopped a little late. Then, the empty sea of chaos burned with black smoke, and countless flames, magma, and various divine fires were inspired from the bottom of the sea of chaos. The sea of chaos turned into a field of fire. Hiss, is this the power of immortal weapons? I am not alone in my way, I am not alone in my way. From this point of view, the immortal road definitely exists. If you hear the truth in the morning, you will die in the evening. I don't want to die. I want to embark on the path to immortality. The entire upper world is boiling. Countless sleeping emperors have awakened, and the supreme emperors hidden in every corner of the 33 heavens domain have emerged. One heaven domain is equivalent to tens of thousands of galaxy size. The chaos sea is almost equivalent to hundreds of galaxies. Evaporate hundreds of seas of chaos the size of the Milky Way in an instant, even the great emperor cannot achieve this kind of power. That's why all the great emperors in heaven are so shocked. The Supreme appears. Sure enough, they were hiding deep in the Sea of Chaos, but the Sea of Chaos had completely turned into a realm of fire, and they had no place to hide at all. The immortal divine phoenix exclaimed, then drew out a magical sword with divine flowers, and was about to kill the Supremes. But he didn't take action yet. I heard screams coming from. Ah! All the 13 supreme beings in the chaos sea have their eyes split open, their whole bodies are invaded by fairy fire, and their vitality is rapidly disappearing. You. What are you? Some supremes flinched in fear and wanted to leave here, but the Sea of Chaos is already the edge of the upper world, and beyond that is the edge of heaven. The Supremes of the Sea of Chaos don't know why they are so unlucky today. The great Emperor Ju who came over to win over the most powerful Black Turtle Emperor died suddenly, and the devouring plan was forced to fail. Then he encountered the immortal Phoenix in battle. I originally thought it was just the same battle as before, with heavy thunder and light rain. Result: the Sea of Chaos is gone. What's going on? Every great emperor has the blood of at least hundreds of millions of creatures on his body. Suchanga's eyes narrowed slightly. The murderous intention was in his heart. He hadn't wanted to kill someone like this in a long time. These great emperors do not deserve to live at all, nor do they deserve to be called supreme. They are simply beasts inferior to pigs and dogs. The Black Turtle Emperor even wanted to devour Linger before. Who breaks into my sea of chaos? The 13 supreme beings join forces to destroy this person. A cold and indifferent voice came from the deepest part of the chaos sea, and then a ray of light rose into the sky. Xiao Tianzun. The founder of Xingziju. The founder of Wushan realm. He has lived in this chaos sea for nearly 1,000,000 years. Time has passed. Join forces. I don't believe it. 13 imperial weapons can't withstand an immortal furnace. Although part of the vitality of the 13 supreme beings was swallowed up by the fairy fire, they still stubbornly chose to resist. After a loud roar, the terrifying imperial power spread throughout the chaos sea. The dry seabed was cracked and there were countless huge ravines. It cracked, magma spewed out, and divine fire and fairy fire burned everywhere. It was like a scene of the end of the world. Cauldrons, towers, bells, and various imperial weapons appeared in the air, and the imperial power was majestic. Then the 13 supremes joined forces to Qi Zhensang to Suchanga. Boom! Click! The imperial artifacts were broken into pieces one by one. 13 imperial weapons were directly destroyed. Blood rains all over the sky. Xiao Tianzun. Help me! Many supremes shouted in despair. Immortal fire has gradually enveloped them. Xiao Tianzun. This is their last hope. Xiao Tianzun. Suchanga's eyes narrowed slightly. The founder of Xingzi, a person in the Wushan realm, was even able to fight the immortal phoenix for 370,000 years without being hacked to death. This shows its terrifying strength. Suchanga then activated the immortal burning furnace, and as long as Xiao Tianzun came out, he would directly kill him. This kind of supreme being without a god is the greatest scourge. Each turmoil devours hundreds of times more lives than an ordinary supreme being. But then, a ray of light appeared in the sky. Escape quickly. Take Xingziju to its extreme. Xiao Tianzun actually ran away. Hiss. Is this Xingziju? I once accidentally won the Xingziju and fell into a bottleneck, but unexpectedly I broke through because of watching the live broadcast. An audience in the live broadcast room looked at the rainbow light left by Xiao Tianzun. Face full of tears. That bottleneck has been bothering him for 3,000 years. He originally thought that he would never be able to break through in this life, but he accidentally saw the founder of Xingziju using Xingziju to run away while watching the live broadcast. I had an instant epiphany. Cool. But why do you feel that this patriarch is so embarrassed? Running so fast? Suchanga was also a little surprised. He really thought this guy was going to rush over and fight him. But he ran away. That's outrageous. Then the immortal burning furnace in his hand was activated again, and Xiao Tianzun, who was running at full speed, ran. It turned into ashes. The emperor fell. The greatest war. From the ancient times to the present, for the first time, someone has pacified the restricted area of life. The sea of chaos has been removed from the world, and has been replaced by the 9 heavens fire domain. Heaven and earth share the same sorrow, and the rain of blood is falling. Sadness and joy resounded. Cry again. There is nothing to cry about. Suchanga frowned and rebuked angrily. Then the sky was clear and the air was clear again. All the visions disappeared in an instant. The live broadcast room was completely boiling, and countless emperors had tears in their eyes. What they have been pursuing for hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, is the path to immortality. Now there is an immortal right in front of them. Tiangong. This bastard, scolded me again. Nangong Wen bit her lip lightly. She has just begun to gradually control the rules of heaven, and she is not very skilled in controlling them. Otherwise, This crying supreme thing would never happen.